or it may come back. But he said that's teleportation, and he did this in Tesla did this in Colorado, and way back when Tesla's lab was there, he was teleporting things all over the place. I want to get this in before I don't want to miss this. So anyway, long story short, he explained that to build anything with magnetic power, what I'm holding in my hand right now is the simplicity of eternal and forever transportation and habitation. This is a magnetic field. There's two magnets. And when you can see and comprehend what I just did right there, you will see spaceships everywhere because they're already here. We're just not up to the level of being able to comprehend what's operating them. We're thinking of linear propulsion, and spaceships don't operate, at least the ones we worked with, don't operate on linear propulsion at all. They operate on magnetic fields. And when you vibrate, something like getting excited at a wedding or getting excited at a good spaghetti dinner or something, you get up to a certain level, and you change your mood. And as you do that, you change your consciousness. And when you change your consciousness, that's a real thing. People think, oh, well, and I was told in school that was your imagination, you're supposed to stop, don't dream. But if it wasn't for your imagination, nothing in this room or anywhere else would exist. It's all imaging before it manifests. And the problem that we have is not enough understanding and patience to let it happen. Well, anyway, I better get to the actual demonstration. We then went to the 45-foot craft, and I was privileged and honored to be one of the selected people to get on board to operate this craft. And Carr explained it to us, and he said, "No, your brain is limited. Its sole job in the third dimension is to operate the body, and anything outside of that, it will ferociously reject. It will fight it. It doesn't exist. It can't happen. So you're going to have to just calm down and just forget everything your brain's trying to tell you, and just let things happen the way they happen." He said, when you get inside, you'll be guided by the frequencies that we're going to oscillate inside the craft, and you'll know what to do. Don't try to think. Don't try to do anything. It will guide you. So we did. We got inside, and inside there was a big, like a gyroscope, and in the center of that was a crystal ball, a big ball, and a laser shining up from the bottom. And the light broke up the color spectrum into hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different colors: red, 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 blue, blue, all the way around, from infrared to ultraviolet. And it was gorgeous. It was beautiful. And he said, well, we're going to go downrange 10 miles, roughly, to an area which equates to the color or the frequency, the vibration of aquamarine. And so just relax, clear your mind. Don't think of anything. Just let it happen and focus on what's happening. And I'm going to cut it short because in the interest of time, I got a couple more things. But what happened, this ball started from multicolors. It started going to one color, and that color was aquamarine. And it lit up the whole inside of the ship. It was really, it felt very good, and it was brilliant. And then the next thing I know, I could hear Carr, and I don't know how we communicated. We didn't have cell phones or anything. He said, okay, now get out of the ship and walk around, pick up stones and sticks and put them in your pocket, and then get back on the ship. And so we did. Now, I don't remember this when it happened. In retrospect, later on, it took me a couple of weeks to get to what I'm talking about now, because I couldn't remember any of this happening. But in essence, that's what we did. We went downrange, got out, picked up all these rocks and sticks and put them in our pocket. And Carr says, okay, we're back. Get out and let's go into debriefing. And I said, well, and I talked to the other two guys, the two other engineers with me. And I said, did you feel anything? He said, no. Well, we didn't even move, as far as I was concerned. And so Carr said, come on, let's go into debriefing. And I said, it didn't work, did it? And he said, oh, you don't think so? And he said, check your pockets. Well, we did, and out came all these stones and sticks and everything that we were carrying. We had no idea at that time how they got there. How many minutes? 5 minutes. Okay, well, anyway, he said, well, what you experienced was in and out of time. It's the teleportation. He says it's really, really simple. You vibrated at the same frequency as aquamarine, which was determined to be that sector that we had chosen for the landing spot. And then we teleported there. The time that you left here and returned was about 5 seconds. The craft vibrated, lifted off the ground, and disappeared, and then reappeared in about 5 seconds. In our time, later, when in retrospect, was about 15 minutes that I figured. And he explained the time difference is irrelevant, that time is a creation that we create to measure things. It's only a measuring device. It has a beginning and an end. But in essence, there is no such thing as time. There's only infinity. There's no beginning. There's no beginning and there's no end to anything. And that's including who and what you are. And you've got to always remember that you're a creative being, that you are already an immortal being, and that when you stop getting tired of chasing the carrot and realize who you are, when you wake up to who you really are, you will start changing your reality momentarily, daily, weekly, monthly. The whole world around you will begin to change. And that effectively started happening in my life when I realized what he was talking about. And ever since those experiences, I've never had to worry about anything. I don't think, and I don't choose. The world that we live in the third dimension is a duality world. You can say this is good, this is bad, this is right, this is wrong. And you'll never get anywhere because you're chasing your tail. And what I found that I do is I just get really still and I just follow wherever I'm led. I just go with a trust or a knowing that everything, and I'm always on time. Even when people say I'm late, I know I'm always on time. And and it works. It always, I always find a parking places and everything. It's just an alignment with the simple laws of nature, of knowing who and what you are, and that we're all immortal, and that if you want to change, you start realizing that even the furniture, when you wake up in the morning, it's not the same furniture it was yesterday, because everything in life is in motion. Everything, we're spinning right now at close to 1,000 miles an hour, but everything is relative, and we don't realize that. But that furniture is also spinning, and everything in that room is changing molecularly and so forth. And we're taking pictures with these cameras in nanoseconds. We're creating all this reality, which is what we call reality. It's actually illusion. We're creating all this illusion. And that can be changed in moments, or in days, or in hours, or in years, or in eons, if you want to wait that long. But it can all be changed. And what I decided to do with my mission here is to see floating homes and floating cities and floating countries, is to see that it gets done. And I had to go through a death experience. I went to the hospital. I had 2 knee replacements, and I died. And I realized then that experience was for me to understand what death was. And I found out there's really, honest to God, there's no such thing as death. What happened, it was a metamorphosis. And my wife and my best friend were there, and the doctor said, you better call a priest, nothing more we can do for you and all that. But I went through this metamorphosis, which I realized the old me died to that reality. And that's going on somewhere in the universe, that illusion. Or it dissipated, I don't know. But this is me personified. I came back with even a stronger urge to see that I get these spaceships and these floating homes done. And it just keeps moving. And I'm no longer afraid on any level of death. I mean, now I will challenge all systems because I know they can think they kill this body, but they can't kill my spirit because that goes on. And that same spirit was in Tesla and car and is me, and my time's up. And I guess I'll run through this real fast. I went to Arizona, bought 12 acres of land, and decided to build a, wait a minute, let's see if I can do it. I just take another minute. Yeah, just keep looking at it. Okay, thanks. I bought 12 acres of land on the north side of a hill. I'll get them later. On the north side of a hill, they said, well, you can't, there's no solar there and so forth. And I was going to replicate the 45-foot craft. And inside that, I was going to start building little prototypes like we had. We were flying them around Apple Valley years ago. This is in the late 50s and early 60s. People thought they were flying saucers. Well, anyway, we bought this piece of land. We dug it out. The only thing we did was hire a backhoe to dig the hole, because my wife and I started digging it, and we gave up after about 3 days. We couldn't do it. And we went down deeper and deeper and deeper. Finally got the hole dug. There's the hole. We hit bedrock at 9 feet, which that was Mother Nature saying that's where you stop. That's where you're supposed to go. And because we were guided by nature, we've learned how to follow her. If it's not right, don't pursue it. If you don't feel good about it, don't go there, because that's nature trying to tell you there's a simpler way. Well, anyway, we had a little trailer we lived in. This was a root cellar that we put onto it. We hauled flagstone, which was free for the taking, and we were going to build the whole thing out of flagstone. Well, I started to build a root cellar out of flagstone. It took me almost 2 weeks to get up less than a foot. I couldn't get things even. I didn't know how to do it. So my wife said, forget it, we're ordering cinder block. So we did. We ordered the cinder block, got it in there, started building the house up. And this went up in 1 day. I went up 2 feet in 1 day with the cinder blocks. And we kept building and building. And I kept, when I went in to get the plans, I wanted a levitation device. And they said, no, there's no such thing. You've got to anchor it. You've got to do this. You've got to do that. And then I went in for a septic system. I had one out of Sweden, which was recyclable. Everything in it was recyclable. You could use the methane gas for cooking. The fertilizer was pure. You could put it in your garden, and I wanted that. They said, no, you can't use that. You got to have a leach line and all the septic things. Well, anyway, I ran into a lot of problems. Here, it just went up higher and higher. At this point, there was just the two of us, my wife and I, building this. And if I put a stone in crooked, I'd have to, and I'd wake up in the middle of the night and realize it was crooked. I'd have to go out in the middle of the night with a flashlight and straighten it. Because if you don't follow those little things in nature, from that point on, when you go crooked, it's going to keep going crooked. You got to get it straight, and you got to stay straight, or it won't work. So anyway, we kept going with it, and we had a nice view. It was a nice place, and all the dirt we hauled out, we made a parking lot out front, and I had solar panels for electricity and photovoltaic electricity and solar hot water. We had air wells. We brought the water right out of the air, so we didn't have to haul water or anything. We were totally self-sufficient. We had computers, we had color TV, we had everything, and didn't cost us a dime, but they wouldn't let us get it off the ground. They wouldn't. So I met a guy by the name of Walter Baumgartner. He's a scientist, and he said, well, I've got a place in Magdalena, New Mexico, where we can build them. He says, it's deserted way out in the middle of nowhere, and if you'll work with me back and forth, we can start building them there. So my wife and I decided we'd go back and forth, and we started building little spaceships over in New Mexico. And here's the, we called it Blue Star because we were coming down this road one night, down that road, and this blue whatever came down the road in front of us, and we tried to catch it, and it looked like a blue star, so we called it Blue Star. Well, we didn't know anything, the significance of a blue star, until we started talking with the Hopi Indians, a very, 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 very high spiritual sign with them. Anyway, we bartered for all this lumber, and we bartered for the even the stones. We bartered for those, and we kept going up, and we learned how to build the top in a corner of our, right here, was a spider web, and we called her Charlotte for Charlotte's Web, and she taught us every morning how to build a web and how to get strength out of the web. So that's following natural law, and so we learned it. When we started to put our roof on, we segmented it like this, and then we put 40 tons of dirt on, not dirt, but granite, decomposed granite on the top of it, and it all locked in real, real tight and firm. And no load-bearing walls were necessary. Everything was free and open down below. I'll show you. I know I'm out of time. Okay. So then here's the getting more completed. We put skylights all around it. Wasn't necessary. We decided to put one skylight over the root cellar. It was enough. Our solar hot water acted as a solar oven as well. We had a garden, and if you ever go garden, look into putting them in a round patch instead of a rectangle or a square. The Indians taught us this, that the animals, for some reason, they don't like to go over a round area into your garden, and we didn't have any trouble with the animals eating all our stuff, so it worked. Well, anyway, we insulated and tarped it. Let's see. Here was the underneath. This is the solarium here. We're going to have a Lexan spiral staircase that illuminated as you stepped on the stairs. They would light up as you go up on the top. And a waterfall coming down with the lights inside the rocks. Let's see. We kept going up. Oh, this was our clock. Those mirrors we put around there, we learned how to use them down below as our clock. We could tell within, very, very close, within minutes, what time of day it was because of the reflection that would shine down below. So we could tell what time of day it was. Solar panel. We started berming it in on all sides. This was our little solar oven and our hot water. We learned about air wells. You can bring water right out of the air. It's quite simple, too. You don't need to drill a well. This was snow. Here was our driveway that we built from all that dirt that we took out of the center. Here was the front of it. And we were hoping that someday we could at least start building the prototypes inside of this and start, again, being active in building spaceships. But it just, everywhere we went with the government there, they didn't allow for any activity like that. So we were really discouraged. Well, I guess I'll kind of round that off. Thanks for your patience. I'm sorry it took so long, but.